What's up, guys? Stitch Productions here, and today we're going to be looking at two Godzilla figures. We're going to be looking at the Hiya Toys King of the Monsters Godzilla and the MonsterArts King of the Monsters Godzilla. Now, both of these figures are based on the King of the Monsters design, but this one came out like about a year ago. This one came out around the time of the original film. So there's a big debate right now on what's better, Hiya Toys or MonsterArts. MonsterArts has been primarily producing all of the awesome Godzilla figures, but now the new kid on the block, Hiya Toys, is getting a lot of people's attention. So today we're going to do an analysis and comparison between both figures. We're going to be looking at the King of the Monsters figure and the MonsterArts figure and see which one is better, which one is more worth its value, and we'll see which one I like more. Now, just for the record of standing, I personally own the King of the Monsters one, and the MonsterArts one is actually my cousin's. So I don't own this figure, I don't regularly play with this figure, but I will be giving you my honest opinion on it. So, let's crack open the Hiya Toys one first. Now, looking at the packaging of this, it is a very nice looking box. It has very minimal detail, no writing, no any of that stuff, just figure images, and that's it. And I mean, you know, what more can you ask for with a box? You know, it's not like some people don't usually keep these things, some people do keep them, and it's not a big deal. Would have been nice if this had a windowed box to show the actual figure inside, but that's a pattern that Hiya Toys isn't doing, so I guess that's not something I'll have. But once you open the figure, you get this beast of a figure, and my god. You know, I got this figure not too long ago, and I still love fidgeting with it. It is such a fun toy, and, you know, it both feels like a toy and feels like a high-grade figure. Like, it doesn't feel cheap at all. This figure has a lot of things I like and I don't like. So let's start with the negatives. First things first, I'm not a big fan of the seam line that is right there. I'm not sure if the camera could pick it up, but that is clearly where these two dorsal plates were glued in. It does suck that every single dorsal plate is molded except that one, but again, that's not really a big deal. And another thing that I'm not a big fan of is the fact that, you know, the figure, even though the posability is still pretty good, the joints itself just feel like so tight. So let's start going to the posability. Let's just start talking about that. The mouth can move up and down, even has a posable tongue, which is very nice to have. Head can look left and right, up and down. Arms can move out like that, has elbows at the wrist, swivel at the wrist. You have some waist posability, which is very nice to have. The legs are actually very well posable. Legs can spread that far and go in that far, can kick back that far and kick forward that far, so you get this guy doing the splits. Then you get some knee posability and some ankle posability. Not too much there, but again, you know, there isn't much you can really expect with these fat legs. And then you have a very nice articulated tail that goes like that and like that. You know, and you know, I did say that I don't like the posability, or at least I think it's tight, and it's kind of expected for a design like this. Like, this Godzilla design is a more meaty, chunky looking thing. Like, just look at something like the Final Wars design. Like, that design kicks, that design is able to get more poses, but this, you know, there's only so much you can get. And I'm showing images on the screen of like little poses, like get this in. And like I said, I think this does its job. Now time for the things I like. This figure, first off, has a great weight to it. Whatever plastic they used, even though it feels a bit, I don't know, like it makes things feel tight, this figure has a very nice weight to it and makes it feel premium. And I also am a big fan of the light dry brushing effect all over the body. I think the figure just, you know, comes out looking like really nice with this light dry brush effect all over the body. There is a new Hiya Toys pre-evolved Godzilla figure that's on the way that is going for a more best way to put it is they're using more of this brown, and I'm not really I'm not really a fan of that. And my other negative is the fact that this doesn't come with any accessories. I know like a lot of Godzilla figures these days don't come with accessories just because they're cheap, but the fact that the heat ray version and that can have an accessory but this can't, like, come on. But there isn't really much else I can say about it. It's a great figure that I like a lot. It feels like the character just jumped off the screen and is now on my shelf, and I'm very happy with it. The only thing I could wish is maybe some more maybe paint apps, like maybe on the fingernails or something. But overall, I think this figure is pretty much what I would really want in a Godzilla figure. And this is actually my first Godzilla figure. So let's see how the SH MonsterArts Godzilla compares to it. Now, the box of the SH MonsterArts figure is kind of what I expected for, a premium figure. You get a nice display window and some nice pictures of the figure all over the box. Honestly, there isn't much else to say about it. I have very few SH MonsterArts figures. The only one I actually have right now is Gigan and Hedorah. But I am open to getting more depending on the characters and if Hiya Toys doesn't do it. But let's see how this figure turns out. Maybe I will get rid of my Hiya Toys one, but I can only find out unless I open this figure. Getting the SH MonsterArts figure out of the box, I do have some good and some bad to say about this figure. Granted, this isn't my figure, so I can't really fully judge it. I haven't had this for a long time. I've owned that Hiya Toys one for a few months. So this figure is a whole new ballpark for me. And instead of going for a completely screen accurate look to the King of the Monsters model, the SH MonsterArts figure goes for a bit more of a stylized look, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't know, it just makes the figure feel more like skinny and gangly, which I'm not opposed to, but the fact that, the idea of a action figure to me is it should represent the character coming from the medium. Like, look at Marvel Legends. They're showing things from the movies, from the comics. Look at Transformers, Studio Series. They are bringing figures straight off the screen. Hiya Toys did that. SH MonsterArts is not showing that on here. Granted, this stylization does help give the figure some nice posability. Head can move up nice and far. Can even look up, but I'll explain that later. Head can look down pretty far. Can look left and right. Arms can move forward and back. Swivel at the wrist. Swivel at the elbow. Swivel at the wrist. Has a swivel, like a little swivel at the, I don't know what to call this, the chest, but that's more so it can look down further. Swivel at the waist. Legs can spread this far. Can kick forward and kick back. Has a knee. Can kick back and ankle swivel, which is kind of weird. It's not really a thing in nature. And then a foot tilt. And also it has a nicely, actually, it's a little stiff, which I'm surprised about. My Gigan is way more posable at the tail, but this does have more joints at the tail. So you can probably get more natural looking posability. And this actually, no, I was just messing with it wrong. It does pose pretty well, the tail, and it moves very nicely. It can actually move up, which I can't even say about the Hiya Toys one. Now, let's start with my dislikes. This figure literally has, like, no paint on it, and it makes the figure feel cheap, which, the figure is more expensive than the Hiya Toys one. And what also makes it kind of me like it less is the fact that, it is smaller than the Hiya Toys one. Putting these two together, you could see a size difference. This isn't the size comparisons, I'll do that later, but the figure itself, is pretty cool, but it does suck that it's a little small. This almost makes it feel like the pre-radiated Godzilla from -1. Like, it just looks and feels like that. And, I don't hate the figure. I mean, if this was my only option for a Godzilla figure, I wouldn't mind it so much. But it's advertised to be like this. At least Tamashii Nations Bandai advertises their Godzilla figures as premium, and this doesn't feel premium. And I wish it came with more paint. But what it does make up for in paint, it comes with 2 accessories. First things first, you just gotta take off this. Take off the jaw. You put this bad boy in there. And then you get, I'm not sure if I did it good enough, but then you can recreate the pose of the atomic breath coming out. I'll just put a photo on the screen. A photo of the atomic breath coming out of his mouth. And it is cool. I'm very happy they included this, but the atomic breath doesn't really go into the mouth or hold in the mouth too well. Like, you would probably need like its own stand or something. So it just, it's cool that you could recreate that one scene from the movie, but like, why make an accessory that you could only use for one scene? Like, I don't know, it just makes the accessory almost feel like a one-hit wonder type thing. And again, I'm not trying to like bash on the figure, but if I really had to pick which figure I liked more, I feel like it's obvious. But let's actually move on to the size comparisons. For size comparisons, we have the SH MonsterArts Godzilla and the Hiya Toys Godzilla with Hiya Toys Skull Devil, Hiya Toys Kong, SH MonsterArts Gigan, and SH MonsterArts Hedorah. I'm honestly a bit baffled. Hiya Toys, when I imagine a company making a big named character like your Supermans, your Batmans, your Optimus Primes, you kind of expect a company to put their best foot forward to, make you want to buy more. If you get a Godzilla, well, you got to get a Kong. And if you get Kong, maybe you should get a Skull Devil. But Godzilla has no one to fight, so you get Ghidorah. You're putting your best foot forward so you get people to buy more. And I think Hiya Toys did that really well. As for SH MonsterArts, I'm not sure. This figure came out in 2019, and I wasn't really as much of a Godzilla fan in 2019. Yes, I watched the movies, but I wasn't really buying any figures. So I don't really know how this figure was at the time. Was this figure the best of the best and the ultimate representation of the MonsterVerse Godzilla? I don't know. But in today's market, this figure does not really feel worth it to me. They're doing a re-release of the exact same figure for Godzilla X Kong, and if I had to recommend one or the other, I'd say probably get the pre-evolved Godzilla from Hiya Toys. That's not to say this figure is bad. It does have its good qualities, and if this is the only thing you can get, that's probably what you get. But if I say had to pick one or the other, I would strongly recommend the Hiya Toys. I think that figure has better posability, which is very surprising, and is just a more enjoyable premium toy. But what are your guys' thoughts on the figure? How long have you been buying Godzilla figures? Do you prefer one or the other? And if you have either one of these figures, what's your thoughts? Please leave it down in the comments below. But we will be doing hopefully more Godzilla reviews on this channel, since it's honestly doing a bit well on my views. So I'll see you next time with another review on whatever monster I decide to do. Bye-bye, guys.